Hey, friend, welcome back to the show. Today, I want to talk about something that so many ambitious women, and let's be real, all of us dreamers and doers need a little help with figuring out what the timeline for your next big endeavor is. So, if you're launching a business, writing a book, planning an event, or currently scaling, timing matters. And that's a huge component to whether or not we are going to be successful. I know what it's like to have a big idea, like burning inside of you, but you're not quite sure when to start or how to pace it out to avoid burnout or missed opportunities. So, in this episode, I'm going to give you a super practical framework to help you strategize your timeline and set yourself up for success. All right, sounds good. Let's dive in. Here's why timing is just as important as vision. You can have the best vision, the most innovative idea, or the deepest passion. But if your timeline doesn't support your energy or your resources or your life's current demands, you're going to feel resistance every single time. So here's what I want to encourage you to ask yourself. What season am I in right now? And we want to look at all different aspects of our life, our personal, emotional, spiritual, business wise, all of the different components of what our life is compromised. This is going to help you to really assess what's doable right now. Do I need a season of preparation or is it time for action? Is another really great question. Because sometimes the ideal season is not this one. It might be the next quarter, it might be next year. So it's really important for us to sit down and recognize what it is that we're dealing with right now. And another great question is, am I rushing into this because I feel pressure or because I feel clarity? We want to be as clear as we possibly can, my friends. This is not something that you just want to jump into with both feet if you don't know exactly what you're working towards. I want you to take a time to pause. Pause here if you don't know, if you don't have complete and utter certainty of the direction that you're going to go. Because maybe it's time for you to sit down and journal a little bit. Maybe it's time to process, maybe do a voice note. Sit down and recognize the space that you are in. So, what I want to do for you today is help you with a 5-part framework that I've personally used with my coaching clients, and I want to share it with you. So, we're going to walk through 5 phases. The spark is the first one, and this is where the idea lights you up. Takes 1 to 2 weeks to explore, and we ask ourselves, why now and why this? So, this is the initial phase that you are understanding what is the idea? How are we starting? The second one is the groundwork. So, gathering your tools, your knowledge, your support system, your finances, understanding what that margin is. This is usually a 1 to 2 month phase. Okay. The third aspect of the framework is the messy middle. So, this is where you're like in the weeds of the building process. This typically can take 3 to 6 months. So, depending on your project, you might want to allow a little bit of extra time so that you can make some adjustments where necessary. The fourth part of this is the launch or the reveal. So, this deserves its own intentional season. So, we want to plan for at least 4 to 8 weeks in this. We want to prepare our audience. We want to refine our message and we want to build a buzz on making this be the best thing in town. We want to get excited about this. Okay. So make sure you take the time to establish that buzz. And then finally, the sustain and scale. And this one is often forgotten. So, what we want to do is plan for the post launch. How will you maintain momentum, the energy, and the growth? Because once you've launched, you are ready to rock and roll, but then you have to continue going. So, what from there, after that initial launch phase, is your next action item? So, that's really key here. You want to make sure that it's incorporated in your strategy. You can plug your goal into this timeline and make adjustments so that the pace makes sense with the season of your life, whatever that season is. Okay. So the time that we're ready can be tricky because a lot of the time we are not 100% ready. There's always going to be things that make us feel like we want to procrastinate, or there's going to be questions that we're asking ourselves, like, is this the right time? Is this the right fit? So we want to have some questions on the table that we can provide for ourselves, asking, do we have the clarity? Do we have the support? Is there a way we can measure progress? Because if you can answer those questions, and if you're saying yes to most of them, then you're a lot more ready than you think. I know it's tough to say yes and go all in on something that's completely unknown. But again, that is where the growth happens. That is where we are learning. That's how we're able to process more difficult things. And we are becoming a better version of ourselves simply by going after it. So, I want to tell you a little bit about my personal situation with Dreaming Night Build. When I was in a very, very busy season, which my seasons vary from time to time. They're always busy to some extent, but some more busy than others. I had to give myself permission to slow down, but I also committed to momentum. So we have to find that good space and that interim that allows us to keep going with momentum, but also honor the season that we're in and structure the timeline so that everything flows more freely. And that's what I did with Dream Ignite Build. And I got really, really clear on exactly what that framework was going to look like for me. And as I highlighted in my 5 piece framework earlier, that is what I help my clients to create so that they can develop a customized approach so that they can directly relate to everything it is that they are currently going through and the current season that they are experiencing at this time. So when you do take the time to honor where you are and whatever season that is, it is going to make all the difference for you to be able to structure and strategize the right things in the timeline that's going to work for you. So I want to give you a call to action today. Here is your challenge, my friend. Grab a journal and outline your timeline using the 5 part framework that I just briefly shared with you. Pick a realistic launch date and work backwards from the date and block time for each phase. And you'll be amazed at what you can fit into your schedule so that it makes sense and everything flows together. I'd love to hear what you're dreaming up. So I would encourage you to tag me, reach out to me, or join one of my amazing communities. I just want to let you know you've got this. You do not need to rush. You just need a plan that honors your calling and your capacity at this time. And if this episode helped, I want to encourage you to share it with a friend, leave a review, and let me know if the 5 part framework is working for your business. Until next time, keep dreaming big, move with intention, and believe in the next chapter.